Today we are going to see about the next type of welding, that is nothing but a resistance welding process. What is resistance welding process? Resistance welding is a welding process in which workpiece or weld due to the combination of pressure and the heat energy, localized heat energy, which is generated by the high electric current flow through the contact area. So in the previous video and all, previous welding process and all, we have seen the heat is created only because of the electrical energy alone. The electrical energy is converted into heat energy and the molten material is formed. Whereas in this resistant energy, there is a combination of pressure and the localized heat to develop a welding process. So subsequently, application of a pressure results in permanent joining of a workpiece by formation of welding without any use of filler material. So the next point is very important. In the previous welding process, we have used filler material or electrode material to develop a welding, whereas here the pressure is frequently applied over the surface area to develop a welding instead of using the filler material, right? So resistance welding is a thermoelectrical electric welding process in which heat is generated at the interface of the part, okay, at the interface part to be joined by passing an electrical energy. Okay, here we will use high electrical energy, so through the parts for a precisely controlled time and under the controlled pressure. So you can able to see here. So first we will apply some pressure, then we will give the electrical energy and the welding has been happened. So this is the normal principles of resistance welding. This type of a welding is mostly used for automobile applications under various parameters. So these are the different parameters of a resistance welding. Starts from electrode force, that is the pressure applied. Okay, this is an electrode and the force applied on the electrode, and welding time, how much time we are trying to give the welding pressure, and the current which is applied to the electrode, and the electrode tip diameter, right? So it is also based on the electrode tip diameter. So if we want a bigger surface area, means we will use a bigger electrode diameter. If we want a very small, means, so according to the application we will select the electrode tip diameter. So there are four different types of a resistance welding. Starts from the spot welding, seam welding, projection welding, and butt welding. We shall see one by one in detail. Spot welding. So it is a welding process used for joining two or more sheets of a metal. So since this is used for sheet metal, this has a wide range of applications in the automobile parts. So the sheets to be welded are held overlap. So this is a sheet. It was held overlap between the two electrodes. So these are the two welding electrodes. One is movable and another one is fixed. So mostly in this spot welding, so only one electrode will be movable and another one is fixed, right? So we will keep the sheet metal in between the two electrodes, and first initially we will apply some pressure. So after that, heavy current is passed through the electrodes, okay, and the pressure is applied from the top electrode. Since we shall take this is an fixed electrode and this is only the movable electrode, we are keeping the sheet here and we are applying the pressure from the top electrode, and we are switching on the electricity to flow over this, right? So by the combination of electrical energy and the pressure applied, a fusion of material takes place at this spot. Okay, so at this spot the sheet is then moved to the another spot. So once the fusion of a material will be taken care by the application of a pressure and electrical energy, the sheet will be welded to it. So once the spot is over, we will slightly move the sheets to the another place. So this is the process sequence. So initially we will place the sheet metal and apply the force, then we will give the current. So the combination of both electrical energy and the pressure will fuse the material, then we will move the sheet for the newer location. So this is nothing but a spot welding, and these are the different advantages and disadvantages. So coming to the advantages, it has low initial cost, high productivity, less skilled labors are required, no edge preparation is required for this. Operation may be automatic or semi-automatic. Whereas in the disadvantages, job of more thickness cannot be welded. So as I said before, this is a proper welding methodology only for the sheet metal. Skilled labor is required for maintenance purpose, not for operating, right? So only for maintenance, we need skilled labors and high initial cost of equipments. Okay, the operating cost is low, but high initial cost of equipments is one of the disadvantages. Coming to the application, as I said before, it has a wide range of applications in the automobiles, right, and aircraft industries, and also used in the steel household furnitures like this. To weld the sheet metals, we will use such kind of a welding process. And next, coming to the seam welding. So the seam welding is also same as a spot welding. Instead that this is highly suitable for the circular components to to weld the circular components. So in the case of wheel or roller type electrodes are used. There we are using a solid electrode, right? Here you will use the roller electrode and the pressure between them are remain constant as your spot welding. The two sheets on which the seam welding is required are placed overlapping on each other. Like this, they will place. Okay. So the current is passed between the two moving electrodes. The electrodes are to be shape of continuously rotating wheel. This would be a continuous, which also applies both the pressure and the electrical energy. So it is used when a continuous joints required between two overlapping welding sheets. In the spot welding, we will try to weld at a particular spots, whereas in the seam welding, it will be welded throughout the continuous portions of a welding, right? So this is highly suitable for a circular components and all. So coming to the advantages, less overlap than the spot or projection welding type, and several parallel seams may be used. So that means parallelly we can able to have an n number of electrodes, circular electrodes to weld a component. Okay, so gas tight or liquid tight joints can also be produced using this. And disadvantages, high cost of equipments compared to the other welding process. It is difficult to weld a thickness greater than 3 mm. Also this is suitable for the sheet metal, and welding can be done only along a straight line, not in any other position. Okay, so application, as I said before, this is suitable for a circular kind of a thing. That means the tank, you can able to see this is a small gasoline tanks, transformer, refrigerator, gasoline, such kind of a components are welded using this seam welding process. And the next one is projection welding. So this is typically a different welding process. It is in fact a modified form of a spot welding. This is the working principle is the same as your spot welding process. One of the piece to be welded in this way has a projection produced by the pressure. Okay, so generally it will have some projections. The electrodes are flat, so these are the flat electrodes. The electrodes are placed on the workpiece and current is passed over these electrodes. Okay, heat is produced at the contact and the workpiece gets welded at this point where the projection is happened. So at that place the heat is generated and the welding process will be taken care. Okay, it is an easy process, easy to weld certain parts without any things cannot be welded using the spot welding. That means in this case and all, you cannot able to apply the spot welding process. Okay, so spot welding process is a suitable methodology for only the flat portions, whereas such kind of a sheet metals you cannot be this kind of a sheet metals you cannot be used in the spot welding process. So for to weld such kind of a materials sheet metals, you will go for the projection welding process. When two plates to be welded are of different cross section, you can able to see this is are the different cross sections. Then in order to obtain a desirable strength, it is necessary to go with the projection welding process. So application, more than one spot can be welded at a time. Proper heat balance can be obtained easily, and the welding may be placed closer than the spot welding. Okay, and the electrode's life is much longer when compared to the spot welding. and appearance and uniformity of welding is better than the spot welding. So this is the next version of a spot welding, where in the spot welding we can able to weld only the flat surface, whereas in this projection welding different cross section images, cross section sheet metals can be welded. And metals which cannot support projection cannot be welded satisfactory. So we have to select precisely when we are going for a projection welding. And to make projection is an extra operation. Initial cost of an equipment is required for projection welding is high, because the press type of machine is required for this kind of a welding. And advantages, mostly it is used for punched, whereas a projection automatically exist, and small fasteners, nuts, etc. Can be welded. Projection welding is used for welding refrigerator, condenser, crossed wires. So such kind of a lot of applications there are. You can able to see the fan cover, compressor parts, and automobiles. A lot of applications are there for this projection welding. And finally, we are going to see about the butt welding. So in butt welding, two parts to be welded together are placed touching each other to end so as to form a butt joint. Okay, so the pressure is also applied in the axial direction. Okay, either the pressure can be applied like this or like this. Okay, so the jobs are securely clamped and heavy current is passed through them, right? So once we are applying the pressure and it is clamped on both the surfaces, okay, the heat produced is sufficient to raise the temperature of a material to plasticize the state. Okay, so this will be connected to some electrical energy, some terminals. So the electrical flow will be happen over there. So at this junction, the material will become plasticized. So that means it will become in a plastic state. So the material becomes such state. Okay, you will apply some forces. Okay, and fusion takes place at the point of a contact. So once the combination of pressure and the heat happens at the junction, the material tends to join with each other. So this is nothing but the butt welding. The advantages, it is faster process, preparation of welding surface is not required. So power requirement is less when compared to other resistance welding. Many dissimilar materials can be welded. The process is cheap, offers strength factor that is almost 100%. But the disadvantages, this is have more chances of fire hazards. Metal is lost during flash and upset. Concentric unstraightness of a weld piece during welding process is often difficult because it is kind of a, but based on the contact area only we can able to weld the sample. So that's why these are the some of the disadvantages. And application, it is used for welding metal sheets, bars, rods, fittings, etc. And it is also employed in a household application, refrigerator and farm equipment. So a lot of big rods can be welded using this process.